What happens when the king returns and brings a monster with him? Roman Reigns was betrayed. His own blood, Sikoa, turned the family name into chaos. While Roman vanished, Solo built an empire. Ruthless, cold, unstoppable. But Roman didn't return alone. He came back with Jacob Fatu, the wild card, the enforcer, the storm no one saw coming. Two warriors. One legacy. And they're not just fighting for revenge, they're fighting to reclaim the throne. They just declared war on Solo's faction. The new bloodline is here, and they don't want peace. Hit subscribe, because the war for the island of relevancy has officially begun. What happens when the king returns and brings a monster with him? The air in the WWE universe shifted the moment Roman Reigns stepped back through that curtain. After months of silence, after betrayal, after watching the family name get dragged through blood and broken promises, the tribal chief walked into the fire again. But this time, he wasn't alone. Roman Reigns had disappeared. Following his collapse backstage, a chilling betrayal from Paul Heyman, and the chaos unleashed by Sikoa, many believed the era of the tribal chief was over. The island of relevancy had become a battleground with no ruler. Solo crowned himself the new head of the table. He surrounded himself with power, Tonga, Hikuleo, and a new breed of merciless warriors. They didn't honor tradition. They didn't care about the old ways. They didn't even care about Roman Reigns. All they wanted was control. And they took it. But what everyone failed to see was what was building in the shadows. Roman Reigns wasn't healing. He wasn't retreating. He was recalibrating. Watching, waiting, and somewhere along the line, he found the one person who could match Solo's savagery. Jacob Fatu. Jacob wasn't supposed to be here. For years, he was the exiled warrior, too dangerous, too unpredictable, too wild for WWE to handle. But now that danger is exactly what Roman needed. Roman didn't want diplomacy. He wanted war. When the lights dropped on SmackDown and Roman Reigns' music hit, the arena erupted. It wasn't just nostalgia. It wasn't just shock. It was something deeper, the return of order. Or at least the illusion of it. Roman walked out in silence. Head high. Titleless but not defeated. And right behind him, with eyes like fire and presence like a freight train, was Jacob Fatu. The crowd didn't know what to make of it. Chants of "Tribal Chief" mixed with gasps as Jacob stared down the lens, as if daring the entire locker room to stop them. No words were spoken at first. They didn't need to be. The message was clear. The real bloodline was back. And they were coming for what was stolen. Backstage, Sikoa was watching. No emotion. No panic. Just quiet fury. He knew what this meant. Roman wasn't just back for his seat at the table. He was back to flip it over and start a new feast. Jacob Fatu is the kind of ally who doesn't need validation. He doesn't play politics. He doesn't negotiate. When Roman found him, Jacob was already fighting battles outside WWE, dominating territories, breaking bones, and making legends tap out. But what Roman offered him wasn't money. It wasn't fame. It was purpose. Legacy. You see, in the Inoue family, legacy is sacred. But it's also fragile. And Sikoa, in his pursuit of dominance, fractured everything. He humiliated Roman, disrespected the elders, aligned with men like Tonga who spat on tradition.
It was no longer about family. It was about ego, power.
So now Roman Reigns and Jacob Fatu have formed a new bloodline, not built on blind loyalty, but forged through shared pain and rage. Roman isn't the same man who once asked for acknowledgement. He doesn't need it. He's not looking for acceptance. He's coming for war. The first strike was subtle, but deadly. A backstage segment aired, captured by a hidden camera, showing Roman and Jacob walking through the halls after SmackDown. No words, just the sound of footsteps echoing. And then, the camera turns to reveal Sikoa watching from the other end, flanked by Tonga and Hikuleo. For a moment, all time froze. Two tribes. One hallway. One future. And neither blinked. The internet exploded. Fans were left asking, who throws the first punch? Is WWE big enough for two bloodlines? The answer came the following week. Roman and Jacob took to the ring. And this time, Roman spoke. "You thought you buried me," he said, pacing the ring. "You thought the crown would protect you. That because I was gone, you could rewrite the rules." The crowd was silent, hanging on every word. "But you forgot something. I built the rules. I made this kingdom. And now I'm tearing it all down." Then, Roman turned to Jacob, who stood stoically behind him. "This man," Roman said, "wasn't invited to the table. He is the table. He's not my backup. He's not my muscle.
He's my equal.
My brother in war." Jacob took the mic. His words were few, but venomous. "Solo," he growled, "you've got 3 days. 3 days to decide. Stand down. Or fall down." It was a declaration of war. But Solo Sikoa didn't flinch. Instead, that same night, he and his faction retaliated. They ambushed Jimmy Uso, Roman's cousin and longtime ally, backstage, leaving him bloodied and unconscious. It was more than just a message. It was a warning. And Roman got it. Loud and clear. That's when the lines were drawn. WWE was no longer about brands. It was no longer about SmackDown or Raw. It was about survival. Solo's faction now called themselves the Dark Bloodline, a twisted evolution of Roman's empire. They wore no tribal colors, no ceremonial symbols, just black gloves, black hoodies, black steel chairs. Everything about them screamed death to the past. Meanwhile, Roman and Jacob named their side the True Bloodline. Their mission? Restore honor, restore dominance, and take Solo's head. The weeks that followed turned WWE into a war zone. Matches ended in chaos. Interviews were ambushed. Locker rooms were destroyed. Nobody was safe. Officials tried to keep them apart, but it was like separating volcanoes on a collision course. At one point, a contract signing was announced. Not for a title, but for control of the Bloodline name itself. Whoever won their upcoming clash at SummerSlam would claim the rights, not just to the brand, but to the legacy of their family. The contract signing never happened.
Why?
Because Jacob Fatu crashed Solo's match the week before. He didn't just interfere. He annihilated. Jacob dove off the barricade, speared Tama through a table, then dragged Solo out of the ring and powerbombed him onto steel steps. Roman didn't even show up that night. Because he didn't need to. He was already in Solo's head. This war wasn't about who's stronger. It was about who could outlast the pain, who could survive the weight of the crown. Backstage footage later revealed a private conversation between Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns. Yes, Paul, the very man who once betrayed Roman. He tried to plead with Roman, to warn him. "They'll destroy you," Paul said. "Solo's not the kid you remember. He doesn't need you anymore." Roman simply smiled. "I don't need him either," he replied. "I've got someone better." The camera turned, and Jacob